maybe you can play guitar some like hour a day, but another 23 hours in the day, guitar exists and as an object. When I make guitars, not only is to think about that 1 hour to somebody holding in the guitars, I think about the 23 hours sitting in the, maybe guitar sitting in the corner of your room. So maybe that's the differences between the musicians and guitar makers and how to think about the sound and concept. And
That's a really interesting thought, Michi. I've never thought about it quite that way. Playing it for maybe an hour a day, and what is the value? What is it for the other 23 hours? I've been playing with this sort of timeline of usefulness, trying to understand this continuity, this sort of continuum of at what point in time is it useless enough to be art or too useful to be art. I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation, right? This is not art because beyond this point, things become useful. Be careful. You're leaving the art world.
Welcome to Life with Strings Attached. I'm your host, Jamie Gale. Today's episode was filmed live on location in the workshop of Michihiro Matsuda, close to San Francisco, California. When visiting Michi's workshop, you don't just see guitars, you see ideas in motion. Instruments at different stages, each one exploring something distinct. Each one asking a different question. In this episode, we move through the arc of a life shaped by guitar making, from leaving his native Japan to arriving in the United States to study the craft, and to standing now almost 30 years into that journey. There's still a feeling that there's so much more to discover. We talk about history, about influence, about why Michi is looking forward and backwards at the same time, digging into the roots of music, instruments, and culture to discover something new. This is a conversation about identity, of instruments, of makers, and of the guitar itself, about what it means to move beyond expectation, about why imperfection matters, and ultimately, about the simple but profound idea that a guitar isn't just a tool for creating music. It's something we live with, something that exists in our space, shaping our experience even when it's not being played. I thoroughly enjoyed my conversation with Michihiro Matsuda, and I hope that you do as much as I did. Thanks for being on Life with Strings Attached.
thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you for visiting my shop.
Well, thank you for having me. It's in your place this time.
Always my pleasure.
That's great. That's great. So it's always good to be here and to see what you're working on. You have an unusual amount of guitars in your shop today.
Yes. Yeah, it's a kind of unusual for me too, having 3 finished guitar in the shop. I'm excited to finishing all of those.
Yeah. And the 4th one you're working on.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty far along. It's boxed up. You're doing the binding. Like that's pretty far too.
It is. Yeah. Now I'm working on the binding work, and in a couple weeks, I can take it to my finisher shop.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah, great. It's like I've seen a flock of unicorns. A herd of unicorns, a flock, a murder, a congregation. What do you think the term is when there's more than one unicorn?
I don't know the definition. So what's the definition?
A unicorn?
I know unicorn, but
well, I mean so there's a flock of seagulls.
Yeah.
Many of them, right? There's a school of fish. It's a herd of horses. Is it a herd of unicorns? I don't know. Crows, it's a murder. Do you know this? There's all these.
Sorry, I'm not kind of.
Yeah. Okay. So there's all these different terms for groups of animals.
Okay.
And when you have many crows together, the black crow bird, it's a murder of crows. That they call it a murder. I don't know why they call it a murder, but that's the official, term.
Interesting. I never heard of it.
All right. Well, you don't have to know. The good thing is these unicorns are standing in for Matsuda guitars. So when there's 4 Matsuda guitars in one place, what are we going to call it?
I don't know. It's called, well, the called unicorn.
No, you get to make it up. It's a group of Matsuda
Group of
guitars.
Matsuda. I don't know. I have to think
All right, no worries. Next time.
next time.
You'll let me know.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. And it's a, can we talk about what's there? We don't need to show them necessarily, but there's is it announced? Can we talk about those guitars that are there? Is there anything secret?
Well, the blue, I don't know blue guitar wise, and he wanted, I don't know, the blue guitar, he's okay to talk about it, or he's
Okay,
still kind of,
well, you said it. We're talking about it now.
are you filming? Well, I'm excited, but but the other guitars, maybe it's okay to talk about it, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
very honored to be part of the blue guitar collection makers. So I'm dedicated my time and excited to put this together.
Yeah. So this was the collection started by Scott Chinnery at one point in time,
I think so.
called the Chinnery Collection sometimes,
Right.
of blue archtop guitars. And they sent you a little vial of the color blue for you to work with, the original blue.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have a great finisher. His name is Adam Stark, and he's taking care of like a nitro works for me. And he did it beautiful, wonderful blue finishes so wide. He added the original dye to his original blue dye to his own coloring, and made a beautiful blue. And I'm so excited. He's such a great artist.
Right. Great. And if I remember correctly, the first time I saw you make an archtop and in that shape, it had a very unusual name.
Oh,
something about New York and sushi. Do I?
It's called Does the California Roll Dreams of New York Pizza?
Yes.
That's of course it's come from the famous novel written by the just remember the author's name. He's do you remember the author's name?
I didn't know it was a quote from an author. I thought you made it up.
No, that's come from the book. It's a sci-fi book.
Okay.
It's a sci-fi novel. And well, I read it in the Japanese translations. He's very well-known American author, and he's also this book is based. This book goes to the movie, The Blade Runner.
Oh, yes.
I'm so embarrassing. Yeah, it's come from that. It's more that story is like that book is in the book. In one of the themes, identities and artificial intelligence, and basically identity of the human being.
Okay,
kind of thing. And I thought it might be interesting translation, and it basically talks about me. And archtops is. But it's not straight connection, straight transition from the classical instrument, violins or cellos, but it's very American instrument. It's oriented by the European immigrant, and Gibson started it, and it's very well connected to the New York and also the archtop makers are connected, and the well-known master archtop makers in the New York and the Cristo, so Italian immigrants.
Yeah, D'Angelico, then Jimmy DeQuisto.
Right. Yeah. So then, kind of in this name, kind of referring to New York pizza. And in the other side of the West Coast, I'm from Japan, and one of the delicacy created in the Japanese immigrant here is a California roll.
Okay.
So I'm kind of dreaming maybe my aspiration towards, it's showing my aspiration to the arts of guitars.
Okay, so if I understand this
And
correctly, you have immigrants from Europe to the East Coast, immigrants from Asia, Japan to the West Coast, and the archtop guitar gets created in America by European immigrants, and the California roll gets created in America by Japanese immigrants. Correct?
right.
Okay, all right. And you being a Japanese immigrant, you're merging these ideas together.
Yeah, merging ideas, and also guitar is it's very versed to the Europe oriented instrument.
Yes.
And it's worldwide right now. It's to me, guitars are like more freedom, instruments with freedom. So I'm expressing from the place where I come from. I'm showing my aspiration towards to the whole guitar histories and natural history and music and whole jazz music and all the stuff. Then I come up this name.
And it's the guitar that brought you to America. Like you didn't move here for some other reason and then get into guitars. You came here to learn how to make guitars from Japan.
Yes.
You came directly from Japan to, if I remember your story correctly, to the Roberto Venn School, and you showed up in the desert, the hot summer deserts, probably wondering a little bit of what the hell did I do at the Roberto Venn School to learn to make guitars. I mean, your journey here really is about the guitar. Yeah,
it is. It is.
Yeah.
That's what I came here to study, how to make guitars.
And that was quite a few decades ago now. How long ago was that, Michi?
It was 97.
It's almost 30 years. So it's 29 years.
Yeah.
You're almost celebrating your 30th guitar anniversary.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. This journey. Yes.
Yeah. You know, you have a long waiting list. Are you making a 30th anniversary guitar? You better get started. It's next year.
No, I don't have any celebrated with everyone is a celebration. Yeah. I should say.
Okay. All right. You don't feel any significance of 30 years?
Well, I feel lucky. I still have orders and I feel fortunate. And also I have lots of ideas and still waiting to start. Waiting to with the project. So the 30 years, like, when I record, it's very short time for me. And I'm still I'm still heading ahead and excited to the next project.
Yeah, we live a long time these days. And I mean, you could be making guitars for another 30, 40 years still at this stage.
I try as long as my body works.
Yeah. I mean, you were one of Irvin Samaji's apprentices, and Irvin's in his 80s making guitars at this stage, right? And so, it's entirely possible to be making guitars at 80, 90 years old. As a matter of fact, this week, we've met with a number of people who are 80 or almost 80 years old.
Right.
You know, and last night I had dinner with Richard Hoover in Santa Cruz. They're doing their 50th anniversary this year of Santa Cruz Guitars, 50 years. But in a couple of days, I'll be with Steve Klein, who the first boutique guitar showcase at NAMM in 2017 was his 50th anniversary, which means next year's got to be his 60th. He's got to be 60 years of guitar making next year, you know? And so, there's no reason that you won't be making guitars for another. But 3 more decades. You might be halfway there.
Right. That's exactly. I feel like I'm still. Those people. Alvin's and Steve's and they were when I started it. When I came in the area and they start making guitars, they were like huge influences, and
Mhm.
still he is, still they are.
Yeah.
So that, still motivate me.
Actually, they probably were as experienced as you are now.
Mm,
Because if that was 30 years ago,
right.
and Steve is at 60 years of guitar making, that means that Steve was at 30 years of guitar making, likely when you met him, and now you're at 30 years of guitar making.
Yeah. Sometimes I think that way, and I'm at the stage,
Mm-hmm.
and so right, 30 years is short time. I still feel short time and long ways to go.
Yeah. I think I understand. I think like you, I'm always thinking about the next thing I'm doing, or the next many
Mm.
things I'm doing. Many ideas, like each one of the guitars you showed me today that's in progress, they're nothing like each other. They're all quite different from each other. I mean, they have similarities in the fact that they're acoustic instruments, but there's quite a bit of variance there. And so every year when it's New Year's Eve, they say, "Happy New Year, welcome to 2026." I'm always like, are you sure? Because I'm making plans already for 27, 28, 29. So I always feel like I've gone back in time when they say a Happy New Year, because I, yeah, it sounds ridiculous, but I always forget the year I'm living in because I'm always somewhat ahead. Does that seem?
I relate to that. Yeah, and sometimes I feel time so goes so fast, and what I'm doing is all handwork, and I like taking times,
Hmm.
but sometimes I feel that. But when I come out from my shop to talk to my friends and my families, and so it feels like especially now, and the things are going very fast speed, and sometimes my kind of hard time to catch up all the time. And 1 year, sometimes, when I hear the New Year's celebration and stuff, I sometimes I feel I haven't done that much stuff. But wow, already next year. So yeah, I feel
Yeah.
how you feel.
As a guitar builder and a player, you have a sense for when something's working right. That's why so many of the world's best trust D'Addario. Unmatched tone, perfect intonation, and strings made to the tightest tolerances in the industry. That reputation is no accident. It's the result of 400 years of being obsessed with quality and innovation. D'Addario, when you know, you know.
I'm not. So I got the impression that you were telling me that you're not thinking a lot about past in your life. You're not retrospective. My son loves history, and he's always thinking about this, and I know history, but history to me helps me organize my rationale for today and for what's coming, not because I'm trying to relive the golden years of my, this is the best year of my life, and I expect next year to be better. My life is always getting better for me. And so I don't think back to the previous times. Do you think a lot about the great days of the past, or are you living in the future, or are you, like Eckhart Tolle encourages us, living right now in this moment?
Well, kind of interesting. When I get older, I likes to like look back to the past.
Mm-hmm.
I start looking back to my history, and also like a history relates to my guitar works. I interested in going back to the history and music histories, guitar histories, and to find something new things. So
New to you. You can't go back to find something new. It's already there. But to discover something you don't know about.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like the music history is very interesting, and now lately I'm kind of watching documentary about like history of jazz or history about country music and yeah, history about the instruments. And one of the interesting thing is I kind of get into the history of banjos. That's very fascinating history. It's American instruments, but derived from Africa. But yeah, then it started. Not started it. It's but now the banjo is very very closely related to the country music, right? But used to be
country and bluegrass.
Yeah,
these two. Yeah,
sorry,
kind of.
maybe cut this subject. I started it,
No.
but yeah, I still kind of researching mode. So my study is maybe not accurate. But the interesting thing is it started from the African American cultures, but somehow shifted it. And country music and bluegrass music very like it's not African American oriented.
No,
Right? But banjo is somehow shifted it. Yeah, I'm kind of interested in why that happened.
I don't think there used to be such divisions in music with this.
Mm.
I remember I did some work with a band called the Blind Boys of Alabama. And this is a bunch of very old musicians who met at a blind school in Alabama, like 60, 70 years ago. They've been singing together for 60 or 70 years. They're very old. They sing together all the time. They're fantastic. They tour the world. First time I saw them, they were opening for Peter Gabriel at a stadium, but they're just so interesting, the musicians. And I did some work with them, and I happened to be traveling through, I want to say Birmingham or Montgomery, Alabama, when they were going to be inducted into the Alabama Hall of Fame. And so they called me up, and back then we all looked on Facebook. We could see when musicians and me were crossing, and Joey, the guitar player, said, "Hey, Jamie, if you're in Alabama, you want to come by for the induction to the Hall of Fame?" I said, "Yeah, great, let's do that." And so I was with them backstage, and we were talking about some stuff, and the Jimmy, the sort of oldest guy, who's sort of the band, the leader, was so excited that he was outside of the Hank Williams Jr. Museum because he's a huge Hank Williams Jr. fan. Ray Charles was a huge country fan. Ray Charles played country also.
Right.
And so I don't think these divisions of these people listen to this and these people listen to that actually were there at the root of the music. I think that eventually more people, it shifted into the popularity within cultural divisions, but it didn't start there. So I think that that country music, the banjo, and the banjo is also very prolific in New Orleans in Dixieland jazz.
Right.
This stuff also, particularly the tenor banjo, the smaller ones. And so I think instruments mixed a lot back then.
Yeah. I think so too. It's a mixing, and my diversity kind of goes to the one direction to the another directions, and the music is more I think so, free move.
Yeah.
And then the another thing in the you said the jazz music, and in the beginning an old time jazz band was not guitars, like banjos, right? Yeah, somehow it shifted to the guitars. Also, that's an interesting thing. I'm interested in why the changes happened, and
I think it's heroes, isn't it? So it probably happened with the rise of heroes. So Django Reinhardt would be a hero in guitar that made guitar music more popular. His work, particularly with him, and Stefan Grappelli, so Stefan's a violin player. We don't really think of violin in jazz today either.
Right.
right?
Right.
But when we think about Django Reinhardt, you think about him and Stefan Grappelli, and it's really like those two with a bass sometimes. It's very small sort of cafe stuff that's happening. And all of the history of the musical instruments shifts that way. The resophonic guitar with the dobro, national steel, this kind of stuff, they were made for jazz because jazz was just the popular music of the day. But we don't associate it with jazz now. So maybe one day we'll associate the banjo more with hip hop than we do with country. Who knows?
Yeah. That'd be great. That'd be great.
Yeah.
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 I like the sound of the banjo, and I like the construction. By the way, I'm the guitar maker, so I'm interested in the construction banjos. And those type of construction, you can see it all over the world. Kind of having the body and the neck goes through the body and having skin and
it's in Asia also. So that's why I wonder, we say it came from Africa, but I mean, the banjo is a drum with strings on it. And the concept of the drum we all recognize as the oldest musical instrument.
Right.
And so some sort of a bowl or a fruit, like a gourd or a vegetable with a calf head or goat skin or something over it is everywhere, including Japan, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. And
the
so
shamisen saying is one with variation. Maybe they come from the different route, through the different route. Maybe Africa, to Silk Road and China's. And
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an obvious extension from the drum.
It is. Yeah. I like that construction. I'm trying to use the construction for my guitar making. So some of the guitar has the same type of construction. So that's one of my research and then what I'm doing on my guitars. Oh, then previously I talked about that kind of relates to the history. I'm making one small flat top guitars, my first, and leather braced guitars. Also, it's more focus on my lute music and history. The finger style. When I think about the finger style, so far I mainly focus about Martin guitars and Gibson guitars expressed. But leather brace is also one of the roots. Bracing system is associated to the blues guitars. Old blues guitars, and back then I think Martin guitars, Gibson guitars are so expensive to buy it, right? People is more available. Those leather braced guitars are more available guitars.
Faster and easier to make, and therefore you can make them for less money.
Right.
Yeah.
And these days, people think leather brace very primitive compared to the other expressed guitars. But I think there's a kind of quality of the character. Yeah, characteristic of the sound come from the leather brace soundboard. That is, I think, one of the root of the fingerstyle guitar. I mean, the fingerstyle blues guitars. So I start making the small body leather brace guitars. So that's one thing. I'm come back to the history, something. Yeah, tries to study something new, and combining my guitar making.
It's an interesting observation that when you seek perfection for a given period of time, eventually, when we get really perfect, it becomes somehow a little less interesting. And then we kind of reject it and we look for things that are less perfect. And so let me share a moment in time where this happens. So when the camera becomes popular, okay, maybe like the Rolleiflex, and all of a sudden everyone has a Rolleiflex camera, right? And that normal people can take photographs, and now they can get a really accurate picture. I sit here with my Rolleiflex, I look at Michi, and I take a picture and I can't paint it as well as that camera got it.
Mm.
This is when the art world turns to abstract impressionism.
Mm. Mm.
It's no longer about making it perfect because the camera's made it perfect already.
I see.
And so now we have all sorts of abstract art. It all comes after capturing perfection. And, leading up into this, we have the Dutch masters, where we have that, the sort of Vermeer sort of lighting, where you look at those painters. So in Florence, the Uffizi Museum has all these incredible Italian masters leading up. And then there's a room that doesn't get a lot of attention because they did it sequentially. And eventually some of those, they take it to France, and they take it to Belgium and the Netherlands. And you see there are Rembrandt paintings in the Uffizi also. And you get in there, you look at it and like, that's almost a photograph. Like, like that is so accurate. The lighting, the feel, the textures, the people, the looks on their faces. That's almost a photograph. How do you make that better?
Right. Yeah.
And they didn't. So the Impressionism movement rises, Van
Yeah.
Gogh
It
rises,
is. Yeah.
Brancusi, Picasso, and we explore other ways of looking at things. And so I wonder, after you spent so many years perfecting, getting exactly what you want out of the fingerstyle guitar, that you are attracted to the character of the imperfect, but the music that you really like. You like the sound of it, but it's not perfect, but you like it. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, the point conversation. Yeah.
Cedar Creek Custom Case Shop is your premier fretted instrument custom case maker, and we invite you to create a musical instrument case unlike any other, one that's unique to you. Every Cedar Creek custom case is hand-built by highly skilled craftspeople using only select woods, Providence Forge hardware, and premium instrument-friendly materials. At Cedar Creek Custom Case Shop, we are dedicated to helping you design the case of your dreams. Find out more at cedarcreekcases.com.
Music does it. That's
right.
where the
Right.
hippie movement comes in. After all the polished, sort of perfect, sort of bubblegum rock and roll, the hippies come in, and Jimi Hendrix comes in, and then it sounds rough and raw, and that's what's appealing about it. And then it gets really perfect again through the 70s, and then punk happens. And it gets perfect through the 80s, and then the grunge movement happens. And this moves in these cycles all the time. We move towards perfection, and we say that's not human anymore. That's bullshit. And we go for really raw music.
Right.
And you going to make a ladder brace sort of Robert Johnson banjo inspired sort of thing looks to me like you're going punk, you're going grunge, you're rejecting a bit.
Yeah, that interesting. The camera invention of the camera changed the art market, and that perspective of the art.
Yeah,
that's interesting because now we are like maybe the same type of changing happening right now because all of the AI thing, and you don't have to play instruments to make music now.
Perfect is easy.
Yeah, I don't know what's kind of changing. Then because when I think about tool, musical instrument as a tool, like a guitar as a tool, which was kind of common way to say it. My guitar is a great tool for the musicians, but when I think about the tool, computers or AIs, they are more advanced. You don't have to play it. You just press button and makes music. Then I'm thinking, what's the point of the making instrument? This like good sound. For me, instrument, guitar, musical instrument is like more giving you enjoyment of actually playing it. And it's kind of like riding bicycle. We still have a bicycle. Well, when I think about it, practicality as a tool to instruments to move. Maybe cars or airplanes and trains are more efficient and more faster. Well, we still have a bicycle. We're still riding the bicycle, even though it's slower moving instruments. But because it gives you joy. When I move from the those practicality, the enjoyment is kind of, to me, is kind of key to make any like a tools or instrument. And rather think about the tools to make musical great music. It's more like having enjoyment with it. Sort of having, because you don't have to, when you play guitars, you don't have to make great music. You just playing it and enjoy yourself. It's my extension of your body. Feels, you can feel it. You can feel and think of the great feeling. And probably one of the things using your actual physical body is, there's more, gives you, I think it's enjoyment. Before you play it, you have some kind of expectation, and your finger moves your expectation, and when to play instrument, then when you achieve it, when you play something nice, when you get the F chord the first time, and gives you like a joy. Right? Those kind of enjoyment is still exist over the playing instruments. So I kind of likes to focus it more at those type of enjoyment, how to bring those enjoyment. Then one of the criteria relates to this kind of enjoyment is responsible. That's a word Arvin sometimes uses a lot when you describe his guitars. Responsive.
Yeah.
It's not the word. Like when you talk about the criteria of the guitar quality, the clarities, volumes, and projections, those responsive is nothing like that. It's more like a connection, a relationship, players and guitars. And if you play it, doesn't have to be well, but if you have an expectation, and if your finger moves that way and your guitar responses that way, you have a enjoyment. And so there's no numbers on this responsibility, but responsive.
Yeah.
But when I make guitars, I'm more focused on how to, what's the response?
What is the response?
Yeah, what's the responses come from my guitars?
Yes.
It's not like, tries to find the word. Yeah, instead of saying how much horsepower this car has, how much horsepower, how much, how fast this car goes, and how much the gas mileage in this car, instead of, but even though the car doesn't have those qualities, still there's a car you can fun to drive.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's this idea that everything is predicated by perfection, and that the goal is always the best. Well, the best for what? Right? So I used to, when I owned a music store, we would take trade-ins, guitars on drums, amplifiers, whatever it was. When I had drum sets come in, often cheaper drums because they were usually upgrading, right? So the drum set we were getting was worse than the one they just bought, and often not maintained very well at all. And so the heads were all beat up and out of tune. I used to set up those drum sets and play them exactly as they came in. Because they always made me do things that I wouldn't have done on a perfectly tuned, beautiful drum set that we were selling on the floor. And I had the same experience with guitars. I had one of the American Reverend guitars come in when they were still making them in Michigan, I think it was. And these were like Dan Electros. They were this sort of fiberboard sort of body, right? And it had a maple neck on it. But this kind of body, this hollow formica kind of body, has a characteristic about it where the neck joint isn't very stable. So if I put my right arm down on the body of the guitar while I was playing it, it would bend at the neck joint and put the guitar out of tune. so I couldn't touch the body of the guitar while I was playing and it'd still be in tune. So what happened though is one, I didn't sustain chords. I just hit them hard and fast when I wanted to. I also started to play a lot of linear stuff, a lot of single note sort of, or alternating notes back and forth, where I just shaped my guitar playing, not expecting the guitar to be perfectly in tune. And I love some of the stuff that I came up with on that guitar. I still play it today on guitars that do stay in tune because it forced me to do something different. You know, if the objective is guitar stays in tune with the most amount of abuse, then sure, there's a better or worse if the objective. But I really like the musical experience of playing something that's imperfect sometimes, because actually, probably not the right words, it is the imperfections that define a guitar or define a voice.
Yeah.
When we think about the people that we remember the voices of, Willie Nelson, Louis Armstrong, Ozzy Osbourne, these are not perfect voices. Each one of them has strange character about them. A Johnny Cash, let's say, or Mick Jagger, or Bon Scott. It doesn't matter who it is. There's character in their voices that you would define as imperfect. So when we listen to the TV shows like The Voice or American Idol or something, often there's people who can sing and hit all the notes, but you can't remember them because it's actually a little too right. Needs to be a little more wrong.
I agree. Yeah, it's like, guitar, like you say, guitar is not a perfect instrument. That's why it's so fun to play it. And it's so physical instrument, and you can touch the strings by your fingers, which gives you lots of fragilities. And the fret, and also you can hold it, and you can, you can feel the vibrations, and it's very close to your body. Guitars are very close to your body. And I agree. It's not perfect instruments. And that's why you can connect your body more closely to the music through the guitars. I think that I totally agree. That's why I like guitar so much.
So this ladder brace guitar that you're making, well, first of all, and this is not a shameless plug, but an opportunity for people, because your guitars are very rare. Most people have never touched one of your guitars. They may have seen pictures of your guitars, but they've never had a chance to actually touch one, certainly not to play one. It's a rare opportunity. But this ladder brace guitar, you're actually making to send on the road with the Boutique Guitar Showcase. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you would have made it for some other reason, but you're making it and you decided to put it on the tour at the Boutique Guitar Showcase. So if you're listening to this podcast, this first ladder brace sort of small body guitar that you're making, people can actually experience, because it'll be in many cities with us
Yeah.
as we travel, where
Yeah.
they can touch this guitar and get to know it. So you have some other thoughts around this guitar that I think are really interesting. Are you willing to share those with people about some of the other things that you're doing with this guitar? Because
Yeah.
you told me it's also an art piece with this guitar, which is
This space is normally reserved for brands who make stories like this possible, like the Dario and the Cedar Creek Custom Case Shop. If your company belongs in this conversation, let's talk. We partner with brands who value craft, culture, and the quiet power of a well-placed idea.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's come from the two well-known story.
Mhm.
And this whole project has come from that well-known ghost story.
Mhm.
And one of them are famous Robert O. Johnson story, who is the blues player, his 30s blues player.
Yeah.
And he met the devil at the crossroad.
Mhm.
And he negotiated his musical talent, and exchanging to it, he lost his soul.
Mhm.
It's a very well-known story. And another story is, it's also very old Japanese fantasy folklore story called Mininashi Hoichi, which is old blind man, and he was a storyteller, and also he's a great musician. He played biwa. Biwa is a kind of lute type of instrument, old instrument. And he was traveling around. He talked to the story to people. Talked to story to people with a company with biwa. He was so good, and since he was so good, he attracted evil spirits.
Mm.
And the evil spirits came to him and asked him to telling story for us. And every night, evil spirit took him to the palace or somewhere and asked him to sing songs or telling story. And since he's blind, he didn't know what they are. And every time he prayed or telling story to them, they are sucking whole living energy from him, and he's getting weaker and weaker. And one time, famous monk came to the town. He saw him, and he immediately knew he got haunted. And to save him, the old monk is loaded with the black ink. He loaded whole Buddhism chanting over his body everywhere. And with the chanting, ghost evil spirit couldn't see him. But he forgot like chanting over his ear tub. So next night, evil spirit came to him, and they couldn't see him, and he was saved. But since there's no chanting on the ear tub, they took the ear tub. But he got saved. That's kind of old story. But two old ghost story combining to the one guitar. So this guitar is covered by old, not old, his guitar is covered by words. But I'm not using any old Buddhism chanting. Instead of Buddhism chanting, I used the whole United States Bill of Rights. Some of the sentences, Bill of Rights, which is referring to the human rights. And some sentences come from, I'm choosing from Declare Independence. In the United States, there's one great sentences about, they are talking about human rights. And those phrases were all over this guitar body. And I use 3 languages to use it, to write it. One is English, which is original languages.
Mm-hmm.
And one is Japanese. It's my first language.
Mm-hmm.
And another one is Spanish, which refers to the other languages I don't speak.
Mm-hmm.
But we all share human rights.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 languages. Yeah, so that's kind of goes to be the art piece. We are at the crossroad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can't wait to see it finished.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm
Yeah.
excited to finishing it too.
Yeah, and to share it. I love sharing your work because people come to the Boutique Guitar Showcase expecting to see guitars. But I often get messages afterwards saying, I came to see guitars and I left changed because I went home and I looked up the philosophy of eudaimonia from Aristotle or, Moltenai from, because you made a guitar with this sort of thinking about this, stop and pause before we throw it out and what happens to these things. And so people come to the BGS and because of instruments like yours and a few of the other people that we work with, they leave with a new perspective on the world. And it's powerful. It's powerful that you can take your craft and add a narrative to it, that message, and that message goes out to the world. And I think that the message becomes more powerful because you find it in an unexpected place, right? If you go somewhere to hear someone talk about something, it can be transformative. But when you go somewhere not expecting it and you have a conversation that you weren't expecting, that is a really good conversation, and it changes your perspective, that's somehow more powerful. You know what I mean? Like when you go somewhere, you're like, I didn't expect to meet this person at this party or at the school event or something, but I can't stop thinking about this thing now. And then we carry that with ourselves differently.
Yeah, in that sense, yeah, Boutique Guitar Showcase is great. They are traveling in the place to place and you see many kinds of people. And also it's a guitar show, since it's guitar shop and yeah, you don't, in the guitar shows you kind of expect who is coming, but in the guitar shops, you don't expect who is coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are all music lovers and guitar lovers, but yeah, I think it's great place I can send a guitar to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Even not the guitar, but I have a photograph of one of your guitars in my home in Italy. And people always ask questions about it because it's not obvious that it's a guitar. So it's this one we were just talking about, this sort of reclaimed material one, but it's the back of it and it's upside down. I think you've seen that. I made this picture and I turned it upside down.
Yeah.
I just really like the perspective of this guitar. And it's not obvious at first that it's a guitar. It's just a really beautiful object. And people ask about it and they stare at it. And then I tell them your thoughts and why you made it, or at least what I remember of your thoughts. I share them as best as I can about this idea of, can we make something that is being deemed of no value? Can we make it valuable again?
Yeah, right.
And people love this idea. And I think in some way, you change them.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So, and that's really enjoyable for us to share stories that can make a positive difference in people.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy to hear it. I'm happy to hear it. You like it, and kind of people, yeah, think that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. We craft people. We are not so how to call that outwarding. Like musicians, you can play it in front of the people, or something. But we are kind of in the shop and by ourselves and making things, and so yeah, it's great to have a feedback. Yeah, like that makes me happy. Thank you.
Well, Well, thank you. Thank you for what you're doing.
The guitar project, those modification kind of project and
Yeah.
recycle project, it's one of the ongoing project. I made another one and with using Yamaha guitars, and I think I'm gonna continue to doing it, and also new make. So you said from the non-variable stuff to make a variable stuff.
Yeah, because that guitar, the one we're talking about that there's a picture of in our home,
Right. Then,
is made from a broken copy of a Les Paul, a bag of chopsticks, an old kitchen table, a broken piano board, soundboard, right? Like all of these things, and then you made them valuable again.
Right. Yeah, there also one of that. Yeah, recycle project variable and the sustainable project, and also also in the project I'm thinking I don't want to make a copy, even though that's a Les Paul shape. The using old material or used material is I'm trying to avoiding making copy because it's kind of like a sampling of the music. Musician takes the small phrases from the well-known songs to put those together and makes new music.
Yeah,
sampling, right? Yeah, the project I'm doing the kind of same thing, and I try to get the sample, but I'm not. I don't want to make copy, so I get the sample out of the stuff. And also, that's a question. How can try to think. Yeah, what's that? There's a very great, this business is very great thing. Like when you see the violins, they are all same shape and there's no copyright, right?
That's right.
Yeah, the guitar is now guitar community is becoming mature to get the point. Some shapes is more like sort of official shape, kind of like. So, but I'm still, feel not copying the official shape. But was the sorry, I can lost.
No, that's okay.
Still thinking.
It's a familiar conversation to me these days, Michi, because I get called into this conversation all the time. As a matter of fact, I think I can say it. I was at Tom Anderson Guitars 2 days ago with Tom and Marcus Spohn, his partner. And Marcus got an email from someone, and Tom got a message from John Sewer saying that Fender had just published that they won a lawsuit in Germany about the copyright on the body of the Stratocaster. And so here's Anderson and here's Sewer, who make guitars that they've already been in a lawsuit with Fender and they won. They said, it's not a Fender, it's okay. And now in some other country, and the German law means it's enforceable throughout the whole EU, right? And so I said, yeah, but what constitutes a Stratocaster? I mean, how close is it for you to have to say that's a copy, or that's just in the same direction of, or it's a guitar, I mean, they're all from trees, is someone going to copyright a tree, so you own wood now, no one else can make things from wood. How far can we go with this? And I've also been involved in conversations in AIs, but they're being released every week right now by someone else who filmed the conversation I was in with people from NVIDIA and Spotify and SoundHub and Universal Masters and such. There's a whole bunch of companies who are talking about the rights to the music as AI generates music and what's it being trained on. But I mean, we all learn. That's what a university is. A university is people training on other people's data. We go there and we learn from Aristotle and from William Shakespeare and from Frank Cousi and Albert Einstein and, whoever else you want to think of. We train on the data that's passed on. That's our superpower as humans. As humans, the one thing that we can do that no other species on Earth does is we can write it down for someone else to use.
Mm.
We write it down or record it for someone else to use. That's our superpower. And I think it's really dangerous for us to start saying, well, you can't use it and you can't use it and you can't use it, but you can if you pay me some money. I get that we need to make money on things, but I can't see how anybody could honestly mistake what you made and say, oh, that's a Gibson or a Yamaha or a Martin. You'd have to be, I don't know what you'd have to be. You'd have to be blind and deaf, and you'd have to be in the dark, in a windstorm, underwater, for you to confuse those two objects. They're just not the same.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right.
And all those jazz singers, they all sang the same songs. If you listen to those old songs, those old Gershwin show tunes, you'll hear Frank Sinatra and Billie Holiday and Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong, Paul Anka. Everybody sang the same songs. They put their own spin on it, and putting their own spin on it was jazz, not the writing of it.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what I wanted to. You have to add your own personalities and creativity to it.
As a guitar builder and a player, you have a sense for when something's working right. That's why so many of the world's best trust D'Addario. Unmatched tone, perfect intonation, and strings made to the tightest tolerances in the industry. That reputation is no accident. It's the result of 400 years of being obsessed with quality and innovation. D'Addario, when you know, you know.
Yes.
Right. Then,
and everything you've made looks Matsuda to me. I wouldn't confuse it as anyone else's.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Then, yeah. Now I got a little bit of idea to talk about. Yeah. Then those I make copy, but it's not copy.
No.
Those my Yamaha project and those Les Paul project, and I'm using sampling, and exactly. Then I have to add it my originality, my identity to it, and also I liked it like a DIY culture in the United States or all over the world, and people modifying things. And so that's, I kind of see the possibilities to develop that idea. So to use the body shape, right? Let's say I like the Les Paul shape. To do this, I just get it. Original, or maybe somebody already made product, and I modified it and something create something new out of it. It's kind of DIY, my custom DIY come from those kind of cultures which I like, and then also it's also challenging is all those shapes come from the certain expectation, and the sound expectation, for instance, when you see let's say when you see Stratocasters, even though you play it, you have a certain sound images, sound ideas, your perspective, how do you call perspective, expectation, expected sound, it's already developed, associated the body shape. So to use, but I wanted to disconnect the shape to the sound, shape, disconnect the shape and sound.
Mhm.
And so that's another kind of challenge to make those kind of copings instrument. It's same shape, but the sound's so different.
Mhm.
And also maybe outline shape is the same, but when I see the whole thing as lines and shapes and the surfaces and the color, it doesn't look like a Les Paul.
Mhm.
Or doesn't look like Yamaha SG. So that's my challenge. So those disconnect those ideas and the sound and physical visual. I mean, visual visualities. And,
It's an icon at that point, right? And so you're sort of trying to see if you can disconnect the iconicity from the object.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting sort of possibility. Yeah, because the most popular version becomes the thing that we think of. And I don't know what people think of specifically with the Stratocaster. It might be Jimi Hendrix, it might be Stevie Vaughan, but Buddy Holly, was one of the first people, famous playing a Stratocaster. I think That'll Be the Day. You see him playing it live, but we certainly don't think of that sound as the Stratocaster today. And famously, I think Leo didn't like any of the rock music at all. He liked country music, and he really didn't like rock music, and so I don't think he liked what Jimi Hendrix or those people did with his instruments. But it doesn't really matter. I don't think he was bothered by it either, though. I'm sure he was happy for the sales, happy for the success of it. Once you create something, you put it out there, it's not yours anymore. The people get to decide what they're going to do with it.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Sound-wise, those distorted sound, also, changing the perspectives.
And Leo was a radio guy, right? He made radios. He was a radio repairman. And so he was trying to make clean things, as clean as possible. So intentionally making it distorted probably really bothered him. I mean, I'm guessing. But, given that his objective was to make this as loud and clean as possible, I'm sure hearing it intentionally distorted was probably a weird tick for most people who were trying to make something loud and clean.
Yeah. But musicians needed more louder sound and craps up the whole volume knobs and distorted the sound distorted, and then they founded it, the value in it. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Interesting ways to develop the whole guitar sound.
Yeah. It's one of I think you do successfully disconnect, by the way, because I've had a chance to work with a number of your guitars. And I've had a chance to introduce them to people who had to play them on camera. So your sort of Multana, your sort of reclaimed guitar, which I think might just be recognized by most people as the chopstick Les Paul. Sorry, but that's the easiest way to identify it. And your deconstructed archtop have both been played by Nathaniel Murphy at Chicago Music Exchange. And Nathaniel's a really great guitar player to put an unusual guitar into his hands because he's so open. He's so interested in getting to know whatever it can do. And he's always very musical. And so at first you're like, what am I going to do with this? I don't know. And with the deconstructed archtop guitar, I think people have expectations of, I'm supposed to play something jazz, which irritates a lot of people who make archtop guitars, and I'll famously, Ken Parker hated that. Megan Wells doesn't like that. Like, it's not a jazz guitar. It's an archtop guitar. It can do anything, and so people feel initially to do that. Even with the Teufel Antonio, I don't know if you've seen Uli Teufel's Antonio shape, but it has an archtop sort of reference to it, also in a violin reference. I showed that guitar for the first time anywhere, and I showed it many times and thought everyone felt like they were supposed to do something. And then after 5 minutes, they forget about what they're supposed to do, and then they just start to play it. And that's when it becomes much more interesting, is when they forget about what they think they're supposed to do.
Yeah, right. Yeah, thanks for telling me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my intention for
Mhm.
those deconstruction guitars and
Yeah. It's a common theme I've had with sort of abstract luthiers. Luthiers who enjoy abstraction. You're not an abstract luthier, you're an actual luthier. But this idea of, can I give a musician an instrument that is free of expectations so that they can create without the expectation of what they're supposed to play?
right.
I've had that conversation with Uli Teufel before also, yourself, and a few others for sure, who are saying, I wanted to make a shape. I wanted to do something where you weren't obliged to play a particular style of music on it.
Right. Yeah. I I can see it. Yeah, there's a many there's a guitar makers kind of looking to those abstract
Mhm.
directions and what I wanted to say. Try to remember. Sorry, I got
It's all
blinded.
right. The freedom for players of expectation.
Oh, that's freedom of
Yeah.
freedom of the player's expectation.
Mhm.
That's right. Yeah, what I still try to remember. I wanted to say something.
Mhm.
I just blinded. Let me sip.
The tea will help. Oh, I'm drinking tea. What do you have in there? Apple juice. Yeah.
To drink lots of apple juice today. Yeah. Still remember. Still try to think.
That's okay.
The freedom. Yeah, freedom. The player feels more free
Mhm.
to play, right?
Well,
That's
the idea that they're not expected to play something. So listen, if we're at a club and someone pulls out an L5,
right. Yeah.
like you're thinking, I'm about to hear some jazz, right?
Right.
If they didn't play jazz on it, you'd be very surprised. You'd be like, "Oh, wow, I didn't see that coming." And so we have this expectation as musicians that when we get a particular, and guitars particularly, because a saxophone doesn't look like a particular kind of music. A violin doesn't look like a particular music, right? But guitars do. Guitars have a look to them where we say, oh, I'm supposed to play country on this. I'm supposed to play jazz on this. Yeah.
Right.
And the idea that you can create an instrument that they look at and they go, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to play on that. So then they're more free.
Right. Yeah. Visual. Yeah. That's a deconstruction guitar. First, I started it. With the visual approaches and the sound wise, also there's another concept and no acoustic body and just a soundboard. Yeah, but that's the concept from visual presentation. First, you kind of lose your expectation what kind of guitar relates to what kind of sound. And also I lost again. Player's expectation. Let me see. Sorry, I'm thinking.
Okay.
Players, yeah. What's that player?
But, it's one of the really enjoyable things for me about my work, looking at unique world-class guitars, is being able to give someone an experience they haven't had before. Because I like novelty. I like having a new experience.
Sorry, I just remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that the sound. I come back to the deconstruction guitars. And
Cedar Creek Custom Case Shop is your premier fretted instrument custom case maker, and we invite you to create a musical instrument case unlike any other, one that's unique to you. Every Cedar Creek custom case is hand-built by highly skilled craftspeople using only select woods, Providence Forge hardware, and premium instrument-friendly materials. At Cedar Creek Custom Case Shop, we are dedicated to helping you design the case of your dreams. Find out more at cedarcreekcases.com.
Then yeah, since I'm the maker of the guitars, I try to I'm not making music.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making object.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's another way of thinking to kind of disconnect the sound concept into the the imagery concept, your expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And as an object of the guitars, I have more possibilities. And also, guitar, right. Then I can more focus on the lines and shapes and like making art as an object. And I think the guitar is also relates to the guitars and the conversation with guitar is a tool or more like as an object. Guitar is just a tool for the music to create music, or guitar is more something you can give you more pleasurable joy. And in the visual presentation is a part of it. And also guitar is when you have a guitar, maybe you can play guitars like hour a day, but another 23 hours in the day, guitar exists. And as an object. So when I make guitars, I not only to think about that 1 hour to somebody playing the guitars, and when I think about the 23 hours sitting in sitting in the corner of your room. So maybe that's the differences between the musicians and guitar makers and how to think about the sound and concept. And
That's a really interesting thought, Michi. I've never thought about it quite that way, that you're playing it for maybe an hour a day, and what is the value, what is it for the other 23 hours outside of it functioning as a guitar? Because it's not functioning unless it's in use, right? That is function. Yeah. And so when it is not in use for making music, it could still be in use. It can be used for adding beauty, contrast, communicating a message.
Right.
On the wall, we hang pictures and clocks and objects. My wife sent me an image the other day of a vestibule, sort of a cutout in a wall with some shelves, and the entire thing was full of mocha pots. Mocha pots are an interesting industrial object. For whatever reason, people like to decorate something with mocha pots sometimes.
What is mocha
the mocha pot? It's the aluminum coffee maker that goes on the burner, and it comes in like this and back out like this.
Okay.
Yeah, the grinds go on the bottom and stuff, and it boils up through a straw and boils into the top portion when it's done. Yeah, and you pour out from there. This is a mocha pot, and there's particularly famous ones by the Italian company LWSA. And there are many Italian architects who have actually made designs for this also. It's industrial design. And so now you have these industrial utilitarian objects which people think are beautiful and to put out in their home. I mean, this is the beginning of industrial design, is people like Raymond Loewy saying these functional objects can also be beautiful. They can also add value to your day when they're not in use. It's just like you're saying. It's a great consideration. I've been thinking a lot on this topic again. That you and I, our earliest conversations a lot were, I think, around the art world and guitars. And there has been this hard rejection from the art world, apparently, that if it can be useful or an object that is put to use, it can't be art. And I've been playing with this sort of timeline of usefulness, trying to understand this continuity, this sort of continuum of at what point in time is it useless enough to be art or too useful to be art. I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation, right? This is not art because it's too useful. Well, this is perfectly useless. Can it be art? Oh, yes, it can be art. Well, that sounds insane. And so,
Yeah.
So it had this sort of meaning, in the middle, I had this big sort of German, like, Achtung, with the big sort of, danger sort of sign, that like beyond this point, things become useful. Be careful. You're leaving the art world.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about the art world, so to me, sounds like a very different from the guitar like a guitar community.
Well, who gets to decide? I've heard artists, well-recognized artists. Olafur Ellison is someone who has made a big impact on me. And Ellison said that when there's nobody in the room, there is no art. Because the painting is absolutely nothing without an observer. It means nothing without someone experiencing the art. And if the art requires a person to validate it, then who gets to decide it's art or not? It's for the observers.
Yeah, that's interesting. I just wonder, artist wants to make art. If that somebody wanted, if there's nobody wants to see the art, one that still artist wants to create art. I probably if nobody wants to nobody wants my guitars, probably I still want to make guitars.
But nobody would argue that you're not a guitar maker if you make guitars that no one bought. Like, we'd look at them and go, well, those are guitars. You made them? Yes. Well, then you're a guitar maker. But somehow art needs to be validated by someone else. So the story goes, but I don't quite believe it yet. So I'm still fighting it.
Yeah. It's like kind of like giving them authority.
Yeah. It's an ongoing conversation.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, maybe guitar makers community cannot catch up the directions. You think?
Catch up?
Not probably catch up. Not a good word. Maybe that this guitar making community goes to the kind of like art directions.
Well, I think that there's a certain point where we just, as creatives, we want to stretch our ideas and give meaning to things. Humans give meaning to things. I don't know that other animals give meaning to things. We don't see other animals worship carved rocks or trees. I don't know that when a tree is carved into the shape of a cross or a Buddha or something else, that animals look at that and give it some sort of reverence. But humans decide to give it meaning. And we could decide that a guitar is art, but I guess you need a certain critical mass for it to be widely recognized as that. There would be enough people would have to say that it is, but that's happened before. So there's a moment in history where the modern art is coming from Europe to America. And this is early 20th century. I'm thinking like 1912 to 17, somewhere in this range. I don't remember the year. There was a show being put on in New York at the Armory. And Marcel Duchamp was returning from Europe with a bunch of modern artworks. Among them was some of Konstantin Brancusi's sculptures. And art is supposed to enter the U.S. without tariffs. So a timely conversation, because we were having a tariff conversation 100 years ago. And so art was supposed to be tariff-free, but U.S. Customs looked at Brancusi's sculptures, and they didn't look like any art they had seen before. And they said, no, you don't get to import this without tariffs. And they applied, I think, like a 40% tariff and imported it as kitchen utensils and medical supplies.
Huh. Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And Brancusi was angry and said to Duchamp, you have to fight this, because Brancusi was a recognized artist in Europe. And so Duchamp and Peggy Guggenheim, of the Guggenheim Museum, that now at this point in time, took it to the court. And the problem is, in the courts, the definition of sculpture in the U.S. was that it mimicked real life, still life. So it could be of a bull or a horse or a human, but this abstract art didn't look like any of these things. And so there's all these funny court statements that talk about, if this is what women look like in Paris, Mr. Brancusi, you have our sympathy. It's a ridiculous court case. However, in the end, the case with Brancusi, they won.
Okay.
And what it means is they rewrote the definition of sculpture of what art is. And so the definition of art has changed many times, actually. There was the same debate was happening in the early 20th century around photography as to whether photography could be considered art, because there's no artist doing it. It's a mechanical object. It's science, chemistry, and a lot of people said this is not art. But now we see a lot of photographs as art in museums. And in the I don't know which year the show was, excuse me, but Harold Egerton, the physicist from MIT, is famous for having the milk drop coronet, where the splash of milk on a red plate sort of comes up like a crown, or the bullet passing through an apple or a playing card. The MoMA wanted to show Egerton's photos as modern art. And Egerton says, I'm not an artist, I'm a scientist. The MoMA said, well, it's art to us. And the MoMA did show it. Even the person who made them denied they were art. And now nobody debates whether or not a photograph can be art. And so you need some sort of cultural agreement that enough people say this is art and enough people stop fighting it and say, okay, we agree with you. And is that possible for the guitar? I think so.
Yeah. The contents are, the narratives and contents are changing. I see it. And in that sense, I'm so appreciate what you're doing. You were adding new contents to the guitar communities. So far, before, this business is like mainly driven by what the big company wants to sell. It's more like, or like famous musician plays what kind of instruments type of commercial driven reviews. And but like I said, guitar is also object, and there are some other ways to look at it, and you are making new narratives and like boutique guitar shows, and there's a guitar doesn't look like Fenders, but still great, and you are making new narrative and adding more values to the communities. I really appreciate it.
Oh, well, yeah, we're better together, right?
Yeah.
Without you, I just have black tablecloths and curtains.
I think it's good to have a critique, good critique, this guitar making business too. It's, then, our community getting mature and more in a nice way.
Yeah. So that's interesting because one of the things that, well, the Boutique Guitar Showcase started with NAMM asking me to find a solution. And then the tours came out of that. But the NAMM show provided an opportunity that we needed. So I was working already with a number of very artistic guitar makers like Jens Fritter and Uli Teufel and Claudia Pagelli, Michael Spalt. And we had conversations. As a matter of fact, Michael Spalt and I met together with Uli Teufel at Uli's shop years ago to discuss whether or not we could maybe show at Art Basel, or whether we could make a real approach to the art world. This is a very long time ago now. This is probably 15 years ago, or maybe 20, I don't know, more than 10 for sure. And this has been part of this discussion. And what happened with the NAMM show and me creating the concept of the Boutique Guitar Showcase in that space with the support of NAMM was that we could create, for the first time, a place where there was an art display for guitar makers to do something with. You can make them, but where do they get shown? Like, you need a context for them, right? And there is no other context. And so we could create this space. And so, the first art displays at the NAMM show, Michael Spalt was part of it because I had been working with Michael for years already with where are we going to do this? How can we do this? And it went from his guitar to a larger object. I said, it needs to be bigger than just the guitar in this case. Then I use a qualifier that says the guitar is an icon of contemporary culture that has exceeded the bounds of its utility. So Michael, I need you to show me physically it exceeding the bounds of its utility. And so Michael made these pedestal sort of pieces, and he made cabinets and all sorts of different pieces. Pete Malinowski, Enrico Donato, you've done one of them as well. And after a certain amount of years, some guitar makers who I had no idea that they even wanted to make an art piece ever, started asking me, what does it take to do one of those? I said, you want to do one of those? I said, I'd like to try. I said, well, make a submission for me. And so they made a submission like, well, that looks great. If you can do that. I think it was Alejandro Ramirez from 03 who did it. And you might remember it was this huge angel wings, like really feathers, like looked amazing, these angel wings. And death coming because he had this remarkable moment where his mother died too early. And he really felt robbed of this. And there's this guitar with this inlay with this woman like being taken, like falling. It was so powerful. Like I could almost not talk about it at the show. I had to tell people about it, but it made me like almost cry every time I had to talk about him losing his mother too early, and after that, I thought, I should just, everybody who's registered for the show, I should just put out for submissions. Say, maybe I should stop inviting people to make a piece and say, who wants to make a piece, and give people opportunity. And I've been really, really pleasantly surprised that people say, oh, I'd like to do that. Like, really, I didn't know, because we had never talked about it, And now we've had so many different guitar makers make these art installation pieces, and it's only because we created this space for it to happen. And now that this has happened for 10 years, there's been 10 Boutique Guitar Showcase shows. And Michael Spalt did make his Frankenstein's Music Machine in the very first year. You were there for it.
Yeah, I remember it, yeah.
And it sold. I actually saw it recently. I was in the owner's home.
Great.
Actually, not the owner's home, the owner's private art gallery. He doesn't live in the house of which has all of these guitars. Nonetheless, Michael could only make that piece because he had a place to show it. And now we've done it for 10 years, a place to show it. And that means that out there is this critical mass of these things that didn't have a space to be, that are out there in the world now. And maybe, Michi, once there's enough of them, it'll be undeniable that there is art guitar, if we just keep making them and keep creating space for makers to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I see the point. I think you're right. made one. I participated
Yeah.
one, and yeah, because I got space. Yeah, otherwise I didn't think about it making it. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity for us to create such a great the place to the presentation. Presentation.
Presentation.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah.
presentation.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you for doing it because I take a risk too, right? Like I hope they don't make something that looks awful. You know, there's a certain amount of faith, a certain amount of trust I have to sort of say, like, no, I think this person can do it, but I have no proof yet, right? Like I don't see them made, and then I say, okay, you can show it. I have to. They have to tell me they're going to do something, and I have to say, okay, do I believe they can make something that's going to be worthy of showing? And then I have to sort of take a leap of faith to say, I believe they're going to show up with something that's not going to embarrass me.
No, so far, that when I visit the NAMM show this time, it's lots of people. I think, it's the whole area, not only the boutique show area, and another like a small, like same kind of concept. It's not more like a handmade, creative guitars, not production guitar. Those people are kind of around in a boutique show guitar booth, and I think it's great. Yeah. It's been successful, and every year so better.
Yeah. Well, Michi, thank you for being a part of my life with Strings Attached. Thank you for being there at the very first Boutique Guitar Showcase, and for being there a few times since. I hope you'll be back again at some point in time. Maybe make another art piece. We'll see.
Yeah.
And that you don't have to answer that. But really, thank you for continuing to be curious and for making inspiring guitars. I really appreciate it. My life is better for it. I think the world is better for it. So thank you.
Thanks so much. Means me a lot from you.
You've been listening to Life with Strings Attached. If today's conversation meant something to you, consider passing it on. These stories find their place through the people who share them. A new episode comes out every Friday, right here, wherever you're listening. I'm Jamie Gale, and thanks for listening to Life with Strings Attached.